It's time for our inner borders on our November Cuties. Hi everyone, Cristin here, and we are continuing with our November Cuties table topper. So yesterday we did the center squares. I love this one. I love the colors, and I'm amazed. I don't usually get these lined up just right. I'm not so great at that. And look it's perfect. I'm quite happy about it. So I can't wait to see yours. Let's move on. We're going to do the inner borders today. So for the inner borders, they are on page 44. And let me get that here. And there's a couple things I want to tell you about this one. So as I mentioned before in the prep video, I suggest cutting the inner borders a little bit larger than what is mentioned in the book. So the inner borders, let me show you the fabric first. It is this dark brown with dark brown lines all over it. All right, that's our inner border fabric. And I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's optional. I find it, it doesn't pull in the stitches. You know, I've talked about that a lot. All right, so on these for inner border A, there's two sets. There's a shorter set and a longer set. Helps if I show them accurately like that. All right, so the shorter set is A. So inner border A is going to be, in the book, it says 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 10.5, but I recommend cutting them to 12. That's what I always do, just to make sure that you have enough, and then we can cut them down in assembly. So 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 12 inches long. All right, for inner border A. And then for inner border B, that's the longer 2. Those ones, in the book, it says 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 13. And I cut mine to 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 15. Whatever's just a little bit longer, just to make sure that you have a little wiggle room just in case. And that's for inner border B. All right, so those are our inner borders. And then for our batting, I'm going to attach the batting onto the strips, and then I'll take out those first 2 steps of the quilting, and I'll show you that when we get to the software portion. But you want your inner border, if you're doing it that way, the same way that I am, then you want your inner border batting to be exactly the size needed, exactly. All right, you don't want it any longer or it will be in the seams. And if it's in the seams, it's not that huge of a big deal, but it's nice to not have bulky seams. All right, so let's start with A. So the shorter of the batting, we want 2 strips that are 1 1/4 by 10, exactly 1 1/4 by 10, 2 pieces. All right, and then for the longer of the 2, we want 2 strips that are 1 1/4 by 12.5, exactly 1 1/4 by 12.5, 2 pieces of batting. That's for inner border B. All right, and as I've told you before, I add these on with the glue stick. I think that works really, really well. The spray will work as well if you have that. It's just messy and it's harder to get exactly where you need it, especially on a thin thing like this. So I find the glue sticks are fantastic. I didn't bring it with me, but I'm going to add a link here if you need to buy some of the glue sticks. They come from Amazon super quick, and you'll have them on hand. I think there's 3 to a pack, and they're the big ones so that they last longer, because I use a lot of them actually. All right, so that's for our batting. Let me see. Oh, so one other thing is I'm going to try and do 4-in-1 hooping. In fact, I am going to do 4-in-1 hooping. We've been doing it all year, so I know that it will work. And we've used this. Let me tell you the quilting design. I almost forgot that part. Sorry about that. Let me get back to that page. It is for the inner borders, border beads in a 1-inch design. Border beads in a 1-inch design. That's our quilting design for the inner borders. And that is on our Cuties bundle of quilting. All right, the Cuties bundle of quilting. You can get that design, border beads in a 1-inch design. So we did this exact same design in July. So I'm going to save myself some time, and I'm just going to cut and paste and bring that part of the software design over the software tutorial part into this video for you. I'm not going to redo it all. So it will look a little bit different since it's a few months ago, but I'm going to do that. It will be the exact same thing. If you already have it from July, which I looked this morning and mine's already on there from, I saved it before in July. So I sent it to my machine and I'm ready to go. So look on your machine. If you've been doing these cuties with me all year, you probably have this on your computer already. And if not, I'm going to include the tutorial on how to do that if you're using Embroidery Essentials, or you can even watch it and just see the technique so that you know how to do it on your machine if you're skilled with it that way on your machine. I'm not so great at that. I like using Embroidery. I can see it all on my big monitor and send it over and be done with it. So I have to think about what thread color I want on this. I think I want it to stand out a little bit, but I'm not sure. So I'll have to think about that. But I'll include all that information. All the rest of the video will be in photos so that you can see the step-by-step process. So let's go ahead and get stitching. So I'm at my computer now, got my microphone, hopefully you can hear me okay. So I am going to show you how to join 4 of the inner borders together if you choose. I'm using Embroidery Essentials, so I'm going to open that up. I'm not sure what hoop size I'm going to use yet, probably 10 by 10. Let's start with that. I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to go up. So right here at the bottom, you can see what hoop size you're on. I'm on my 8 by 12 right now, and that actually might work. They're 1 1/4 inches wide. Maybe I'll leave that as my 8 by 12 for now. If you're not on the hoop size that you want, you would go up to this preferences folder, click on that, choose the hoop size you want and say okay, and then click on this compass button and click on H to have it zoom into the hoop. All right, so I'm going to start by bringing in the quilting design. So I'm going to go to this merge stitch file button, and I am looking for, let's see, we're on cuties, perfect. All right, centers and triangles, no, we want border beads and argyle. That's what the one is for July, border beads. So I'm going to click on that, and we're looking for the 1 inch size. So the 1 inch has a 10 inch, a 12 inch, a 14 inch, and a 7 inch. And we know that we want 10 inches on the first 2 and 12 inches of quilting on the second 2. So I'm going to do just all 4 at a 12. My guess is that this 12 probably won't be 12 inches long. We may need to use the 14, but let's just check and see. So I'm going to click on this 1 by 12. And it is 11 9/16, so a little bit more than 11 1/2. I would rather have it be longer than shorter personally. I mean, this would work, let's see, less than a 1/2 inch. So you would just have a little bit of blank space on each end. So let's just check and see what size the 14 inch is. I'm going to go ahead and move this over, and I'm going to click merge stitch file. And I'm going to click on that border beads again, and then the 1 by 14 right there. So this is depending on your hoop size and what you have available. You would need to make it work based on your hoop size as well. So you can see that this is turned red, and that means it's too large for this hoop. So the length of this one is 13 5/8 for this one. 13 5/8, 1 3/4 by 13 5/8. That's because of that 1/2 inch for the placement stitch for the main fabric. So the actual quilting is less than 1 inch. It should be right about 1 inch. All right, so let's see. Totally up to you. You could decide to use you would need to use your 9 by 14 hoop if you're going to use the 13 5/8. Or you could use the 12 and have it be just a little bit too short. I'm leaning toward the longer. I think I'll do the longer. So I'm going to use my 9 by 14 hoop. So I'm going to go up here to merge stitch file and change, or I'm sorry, not merge stitch file, the preferences folder, and change to my 9 by 14 hoop so that that red goes away and it says it'll fit. And then I'm going to go to this compass button and hit H to see my entire hoop. So this 1 by 12, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I'm going to do 4 of them. You could do 2 of the 12 inch. That would work for the 10 inch, the shorter, the A, border A strips. You could do 2, or you can do all 4 one size and just cut off it. It's not going to matter because it's not going to be in your seams, because you're going to cut out that batting with the step that we're using. I'll show you in photos that we're going to add that batting right onto our border strip. So it's not going to matter. It would just run off on the edge of your stabilizer. So the easier way, the quicker way, is to do them all the same, but you absolutely could do 2 of the 12-inch and 2 of the 14-inch. It's completely up to you, and really it's all in one hooping, so that wouldn't be a problem. Let's try that. I haven't really done that before, so let's try that. I'm going to go ahead and try that. All right, so to do that, let's just see where we get with this. So I've got this first one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to move it all the way over to the edge, but we want to change all those default blues and oranges so so that they won't join together. Now I want to point out something really important. You can delete step 1 and step 2 if you're adding the batting onto your strips like I'm going to show. I'm going to leave them on just so I remember to tell everyone to bypass it, but you absolutely could delete these 2, and then you wouldn't have to change any colors because you would have a blue, a light orange, and a turquoise. None of those are going to join, so you don't need to do that. You could just select these 2 items, step 1 and step 2, and delete them. All right, but I'm going to keep them. So since the only one that is off is this default one blue, so I'm going to go ahead and change this one. So I'm going to click on one and click on the color, and I'm going to change it to dark aqua, and then the others will be fine. So we have orange, blue, light orange, and turquoise. So that's all good. Now on this second one, this is the 1x14-inch. This one, I'm going to move it over to the edge here. Actually, I'm going to have it over here so I can bring in a 4th one. So same thing, 1 and 2, if I click on 1 and 2, it's not letting me do it, there we go, 1 and 2, 2, 1 and 2, 2, you could delete those. You absolutely can delete those if you're adding the batting onto your border strips like I'll show in just a moment. So you can go ahead and click delete on those. You would just hit delete on your keyboard. I'm going to leave them in, so I'm just going to change this one default one blue to that dark aqua. All right. Okay, so now that the colors are changed, we can bring more of them in. So on this number 1, the 1x12, I want 2 of these. So I'm going to say Control C to copy it, and then Control V like victory to paste it. So it has gone on top of this first one. I'm going to go ahead and just move it over. I'm going to do it haphazardly so you can see what's going to happen when we do that align and distribute. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just move it aside. Now, one thing is that it is after, I should do the 12s first and then the 14s second, rather than having my machine jumping around, because it's right now it's going to do this one first, then come over here to this one, and then come to this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on number 2, or actually it's number 3, this one, yeah, sorry, number 3, and I'm going to move it up. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say move earlier. All right, so you can see that now it's got the first one, the second one, and then the third one. So that's much better. All right, so now I want to hit, I'm on the 1x14, I'm going to hit Control C to copy and Control V like victory to paste, and then I have a 4th one. So I'm going to go ahead and move this 4th one over to the very edge. All right, so now I have all 4. They are in a way that they will align correctly, but before we do our color sort, we want to make sure that they are lined up just right, and you can see mine are very haphazard. So I'm going to go ahead and do align and distribute before we do a color sort. Once you do a color sort, these 4 designs here will turn into one design, and then you can't move them individually. So you want to make sure to do this before a color sort. So the easiest way to get all 4 of these designs is from the bottom, click and drag up. That's the easiest way I found to make sure to get all 4 designs so that you can tell the machine what you want to align and distribute, these 4 designs. So I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to say, I believe it's center. I could be wrong. Maybe, I don't remember. Let's try it. Nope, that wasn't it. I always seem to forget that. That's funny. All right, there's this wonderful undo button for when you forget what you're doing, like I just did. And then I want to go ahead and highlight them all again. And I'm going to say Utility, Align and Distribute. And let's see, I think it is center, maybe just center on the left. Let's try that. I don't know why I always forget that. All right, so see how it moved them. It moved this one because that one was the haphazard one up and away. So now they're all aligned just right, but now we want to distribute them so that the space in between here, I should have made it even more haphazard so you could see a bigger change. But when we go to this distribute tab, I think, let's try center, center. Let's see what that does. Say apply. Yep, that did it. Phew. All right, so you saw that these two moved so that there is equal space between each strip. That's the purpose of that. All right, so that is all done. They are all changed of colors. They're aligned and distributed. I'm using my 9x14 hoop. You can see it down here at the bottom. So now I'm going to do that color sort, all right? Because right now we have 20 color steps, and we can bring that way down and make this such a very simple process and quick and easy, and save on stabilizer for these 4 strips and the whole bit. So I'm going to go to Utility, Color Sort, and it's going to think, and it says it's reduced it by 15 color changes. Now notice, don't forget, notice these settings that I have here. You need to have these same settings, especially this tolerance 0 and all of these, so that you get the same results as me. So new view, I always recommend clicking new view so that you can have 2 different tabs. You can see Untitled 1 is the tab that has the 4 designs. It will open another tab and they'll all be in one design, and you can check it to make sure it's accurate of what you wanted. And if it's not, you can go back to that first tab. So I'm going to go to new view. And here's that second tab, and now they're all in one design, so I can check them quickly. And don't forget, 1 and 2, these are the placement of the batting and the tack down of the batting. Those are the ones that I told you you can delete if you'd like, as long as you're adding the batting onto your strips with a glue stick or that spray. And I'll show you exactly some more tips on that. So that's 1 and 2. I'm keeping them in, but you don't need those. Then here we have 3. This is the placement for it. We'll do a placement stitch of where we're going to put those fabric strips in for our inner borders. And then number 4, it's going to tack them down. And notice it just does the sides. That's why it's not a regular orange, the default orange. It's a default light orange because it's only doing the side strips, the sides of the strips, tacking it down. And then number 5 is always our quilting design. So we'll have the quilting design on all 4, and you can see that it's going to do 2 of them shorter and 2 of them longer. So strips A and strips B, so make sure that you're placing them correctly on your hoop. And I'm using my 9x14 hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to go to my cuties. And we are in July. I'm going to put it in, this is the quilting. I believe I'm going to put it in my quilting, and I'm going to put it with these border beads in case we do this again later in the year, which I'm almost certain that there will be another one that is this border beads and 4 inner borders. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm on VP3. That's funny. That's because I was making a label for someone else. So I am going to go ahead and name this beads. I'm going to name it actually 1x14 beads border times 4. All right, name it whatever you're going to be able to find it easily, and then save it. And then if your machine is on, which mine's not on right now, you could do a utility send to Celery XP1 if you have a machine that is Wi-Fi ready, or you can transfer it to a USB stick. I showed that in yesterday's tutorial for the center blocks, and either way, we're all ready to go. So let's get started stitching our inner borders. And how are you doing with your goal? So I know that this week is going to be a really, really busy week for me. So I'm just giving myself grace, and I am not going to make too much of an effort to get on the treadmill or work with weights, which is what I really should be doing. But I'm going to wait and just work a lot this week. But I am taking my dogs for a walk. And yesterday, there was a lot going on yesterday, and so I ended up walking a lot. You know how like exercise just relieves stress and helps you handle stress better, and it gives you endorphins so that you are stronger and can handle things better. So even if you aren't super active and you're out climbing hills and riding your bike and doing whatever, get out for a walk, move around, move your body. I'm telling you, it makes such a huge difference. Seriously, huge difference. So I walked my dogs, I think 3 or 4 times yesterday, and ended up with over 5 miles just in walking. And so I didn't get my heart rate up. I was walking slowly with my dogs, but it was exactly what I needed, right? So just keep that in mind. If you're having a bad day, or if something isn't working well, or you can't fit in a workout, or whatever the case may be, at least just get up and move your body. That's really all it takes to get those endorphins and help feel stronger and healthier and get movement. That's it. So that's what I did yesterday. So not a whole lot of activity as far as hard exercise, but I did my goal. I'm still counting it as a check mark on my goal because I got plenty of movement. So that was good. How are you doing with your goal? And my shirt today, I love this one. I almost never wear it. It's several years old. It's probably my smallest shirt, and that's why I don't wear it very often. It can be hard on your confidence when it's too small, but it works right now. So anyway, the shirts, the design is from Designs by Juju, and I love this design. I love how colorful it is. I think it's so much fun. It says quilters know all the angles. How fun is that? I love this one. It's a really cute shirt, really cute design. The shirt is from Fred Meyer a bunch of years ago in the junior section. So basically a kid's shirt. What was I thinking? But I wear it with a tank top underneath so that it's not like a belly shirt. Can you imagine? Anyway, it is a cute shirt, but the design from Designs by Juju is super cute. I will add a link underneath the video in the video description that will get you straight to where you can find the design. It was a whole pack of really cute designs.